Better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Olympic Change Partners podcast. And today we're going to be dealing with the holidays. So we've got a very special podcast for you today. It's going to be a two-parter. This is part one called Deck the Halls and Not Your Relatives. And I'm sure we're all in that situation where there are a few relatives that push us a little bit to the edge. Well, the holidays are just filled with stress, aren't they, David?
They absolutely are. And, I used to travel for the holidays. And
On a
now,
sleigh.
well, you know what? I sure did. I was on a
Tossing gifts
sleigh
out as you
and the whole
barely went
thing.
across.
But I got to tell you, I know I'm not the only person who is not necessarily in love with their family of origin. And so you pull yourself together and get on a plane, travel to another state, which many people are doing. And then the minute you get into the house where your holiday gathering is going to be, you're like, what did I do this for? And
And
so
you spray on the permagrin. Hi,
and then
everyone.
yeah, and then if you're me, you wind up in your therapist office for the first 4 months of the new year.
Well, it seems like those holiday ventures are always compressing your entire childhood and re-traumatizing you over a couple-day visit. It's just kind of surprising how that can just go awry.
And
Very emotionally charged for positive and negative reasons.
It's so highly charged, and depending, and so for me, I sort of say it's not if you have a dysfunctional family, it's how dysfunctional is the family. And so, in all dysfunction, I know the word says, oh, dysfunction, fun's in the middle. My family dysfunction is not fun. So, over the last few years, I've opted not to do that, and like for this year's been different, hasn't it? People have had
a lot of stacking of many complex things happening. And the incredible overwhelm that comes with the velocity of the change that we've all been experiencing, not only an election year, economics, the world seems to be on the brink. We always say the world's on the brink, but come on, we've got several different major conflicts going on the globe right now.
I think we could probably say that this is unheralded for people that are our age. We've never seen this level of whatever you want to call this. So I was thinking about it these last couple days, and I thought, gosh, I'm normally pretty good with change, but this year the world is changing, America's changing, and I'm moving. So
you're changing.
I'm changing too. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. And to be completely honest, when I'm overwhelmed with change, one of the things I do is I pull myself out of it and I lay in bed and I watch The Golden Girls or Two Broke Girls in the case I'm running that series now, something just to give my mind a chance to settle down. So when we're talking about acknowledging a holiday season and the combination of joy and stress and uncertainty and gratitude and maybe even a little fear, and again, if you'll permit me to give you a line from The Golden Girls, Blanche Devereaux, who most people would know as kind of like the vamp of the house, she has an emotion that she calls magenta. Magenta. She said, because magenta is a color made up of so many other colors. She said, you're not necessarily yellow, so you don't really feel fear. You're not really red or angry. You're a little bit of all of those things.
Yeah.
I don't like the color magenta, but I appreciate the analogy because I think it's important that as we're dealing with the holidays, many people say it doesn't feel like a holiday. Many people say it doesn't feel like Christmas. Yeah.
We shoved up the decorations, but it seems like I got another month or two before I really have to get into it. But the reality is that's not true, is it? What day is today? Week. December 17th. We've got next week. Yeah. So here I am, totally unprepared.
So it's interesting, feeling magenta, and here comes the holidays. So I would just say, off the very top, what I'm doing is giving myself a lot of leeway giving myself permission to just say, you know what, we don't feel it. And I'm not going to spend the time trying to manufacture it.
Mhm.
I'm going to be very clear on the fact that, yes, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but it is the end of the year. And if you celebrate Christmas or not, or if it's Kwanzaa or if it's Hanukkah, whatever it might be, it's still an opportunity. It's the end of the year, and it's a great time to kind of take stock of where you are
Yeah.
and take a look at what things are blessings or what things you're grateful for.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that happened last year in
I
our
think
personal lives. Yeah.
I
And,
think in
and
my
there's a lot of good
personal
stuff
life,
that's going to happen next year.
yeah, I wouldn't say this has been a bad year, but I
Mm.
will say that at this period of time, it is really important that we plan and really kind of gather ourselves. And,
Yeah.
people say, I'm like, oh, well, what are you having for your Christmas dinner? One guy told me a bag of potato chips with avocado dip, and somebody else,
That's what does it.
yeah,
I'm good.
somebody else said, whatever they're delivering. I said,
Whatever
well,
they're
are you
living.
going to your son and daughter-in-law's house? And she said, I've seen my son and daughter-in-law all years, and frankly, they do nothing for my nerves. I'm going to stay at home. If they want to see me, they can FaceTime me. I'll stand in front
Wow.
of a backdrop of a Christmas tree. So everybody's kind of doing something different, and I think that we should be able to do that guilt-free.
That's an interesting thought.
I think we need to just be able to do that guilt-free. Listen, we've had a lot of great holiday experiences. We've had some not so great holiday experiences. This one's going to be very different. And
A
word to
little
the
bit
wise,
lonely, I think, in a way too.
I I feel like maybe it'll be lonely for some people. I think for maybe other people, it's going to be a time when they're feeling in their bodies. I can't help. I'm very empathic, and I feel as though there's the uncertainty. Nobody's, none of us like that feeling.
No,
None of
no.
us.
I don't mind change, and I
Yeah.
don't mind some of the chaos that comes with change, but I do like a little bit of predictability. And when you're facing absolute uncertainty, that's not a good feeling at all for me.
So, and a lot of people, when you talk about planning during a period of uncertainty, people are like, well, how can you do that? And it's like, well, if you're in a mode of uncertainty, what else are you going to do? You're going to need to do that more than if you know what lay ahead. So it's very interesting. The other thing I like about, the week before Christmas and the week of Christmas is that everything slows down. So email slows down, people are taking vacations. So you do have a little bit more time, to yourself to just kind of get your mind right. And you can use YouTube because they have this great channel that plays holiday music, and the screen is just like a fireplace with Christmas decorations on the top.
I do that. I do that. You can change your environment, and you
Yeah.
can put. You can tell our friend whose name rhymes with
Yes.
Rolex.
Uh,
And that's as much as I'll say because both of our devices will go off. But you can actually ask for winter soundscapes,
mhm.
little jingle bells, little flurries of snow, that sort of thing, a light wind whipping, and turn on some of those. We all have those big screen devices now. We can turn that on to help augment that. You can make a crackling fire sound in the background. You can control your environment like never before, and that's what we're going to do.
And people that like the fragrance of the holiday, especially for people that live alone, the fragrance of the holiday can be replicated by a pot of boiling water, some oranges, some lemon, some vanilla sticks, and some cinnamon.
Those are really good ideas. That's kind of
I
like
mean,
a potpourri in a teapot, so to speak, and you can put it on a
and
low flame, and it'll keep
yeah, a
steaming
low
up your whole
flame,
house
right?
with
Yeah, you don't want to
yum.
boil it. You don't want to, but it's
Just
interesting because
apple pie kind of smelling.
that olfactory sense. I mean, there are times, my mother's been dead, what, 3, 4, 5 million years. And
Wow.
so periodically, if I'm missing her or my grandmother's, I have their favorite perfumes, and I'll spray
You can
them.
bring back that scent memory.
Yeah,
Scent memory
scent
is a
memory.
very, very powerful thing.
Right. So,
Scent memory is
and
very
that's
powerful.
whether you live alone or if you're just a couple or you have a house full of people, that's sort of an interesting tool because that scent memory makes it invokes a feeling and invokes some thoughts, and it does sort of rearrange your brain cells. Because I don't want for me, I don't want it. For you, I don't want it. And for anybody that listens to this, I don't want this for them either. I don't want them to use the natural break with the holiday to lament and moan and be fearful of what's going to happen in the following year, because that's already happening.
When we don't know what's coming next, and that's the great thing. I don't have to worry about tomorrow today. I
No,
plan for it, and I'll handle tomorrow when it comes. But yeah,
my dad used to say, don't borrow tomorrow's troubles today.
that's right.
And so, but you know how it is, the minute, because people are so busy that when they slow down or stop at the holiday time, you'd be amazed at what thoughts come back. So when you begin to slow down and your brain starts to sort of process the things that you have put on hold, I want people to be very compassionate with themselves and begin thinking, don't catastrophize, don't future cast, count your blessings. And, it was interesting. You and I were at a conference last week, and
That's
it was
right.
a tech
We
conference.
were. Was it just last week? It seems
Yeah,
like 100 years already. But that was just last week. We were at this great
it
conference.
was a week ago today, I think.
Wow.
And it was a tech conference. And, you figure, boy, AI is everywhere. These folks, I'm going to learn so much about AI. I learned some things, but not nearly as much as I thought, because it was interesting to me talking to a lot of the people that were there, thinking that they already knew maybe some of the things that we've been sharing with people about using AI to plan for the uncertainty of next year, using AI to sort of scrape the internet to give us some sort of understanding of what skills are going to be necessary to drive success for us next year. So many of those people that were standing there in front of these very big and impressive displays and things, they looked at me as though I had lapsed into a foreign language. I'm like, I'm sorry. Did I misspeak? Did I say something wrong? No, we never heard of using it like that before. So look, we
It's kind
can.
of startling. AI, the
I thought it
adoption of
was.
AI.
I thought it was startling.
They said every 8 weeks. It's more like every 7 weeks. AI is brand new, or it takes a Herculean leap. The way your iPhone will between generations, it'll
Mhm.
occasionally take a significant leap about every year or two. AI
Mhm.
is doing it every 7 weeks. So I'm a little surprised people aren't being more adaptive, or at least more understanding. And I think maybe part of that is people think of AI as artificial intelligence,
Right.
when really all it does, I call it amplified or
Yeah.
augmented intelligence, because that's what it does.
Well, and
Oh, I
I
gotta put
think.
my reading glasses on. David loves to put these things up, so I
Oh, I
look
know, I
cool.
know, I know.
Oh, put it back.
So here's the thing that as we close out the year, and it's a holiday time, and for me, the holiday time is a time where, regardless of where I am or what I'm doing, I wish I was at the Alderbrook amongst all the beautiful holiday decorations. But
I was there this morning, as you
oh,
know,
wasn't that
and it was so
beautiful?
restorative. And you bring up a
It
good point. You
is.
can get out of your own space and go someplace alone or with others and see something wonderful and have your whole environment recreated. In my case, where there's this resort hotel down the street called Alderbrook,
Mhm.
and you can Google that,
You
and
know,
then you'll be able to find us. But it was
exactly.
just nice. There's a giant fireplace and a
Mhm.
huge amount of space all around, and it was pretty quiet. And I thought, this is my living room today, and it
And
was.
soon to be mine. So,
And
you
it
know,
was. And I had
as
hot
we
chocolates, and I felt
yeah,
very Christmassy, and I sat near the tree and
and
held my
the aroma of
paws.
the Christmas trees and the aroma, I mean, the scent
Yeah.
situation is so amazing. So, I mean, this is the first of a couple of different podcasts that we're going to be doing around the holiday because, and again, we're going to leave you on a high note, but I do want to say to anybody who is listening, if depression and anxiety have overtaken you this year and they are still at a very high level for you, I need for you to reach out and call somebody. If you don't have anybody you can call, 988 is the perfect number, because when you call that number, they sort of are going to be able to resource you in that moment to sort of bring you back to, you know, a comfortable level if they can. What they will also do is resource you based on where you reside. You know, the holiday time can be great for some people, not so great for others. We want everybody to survive, to thrive in the next year. And if you dial back in for us for the next segment of this podcast, Deck the Halls and Not Your Relatives, not that anybody's, unless you're that movie with Chevy Chase. I know.
It's been quite an entertaining day today. I'll tell you what, as stressed as I was earlier, if Santa would have came down my chimney, I would have lit his beard on fire.
Oh, not really Santa. You know, and
okay, maybe not Santa.
Watching the movie with the Chevy Chase, what is it called? The Chevy Chase Christmas?
National Lampoon's Vacation.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I love that movie. I can watch that
the heck on a loop. It cheers me up. It's
watching
so
them
funny
fight and their Christmas tree burns up and the lady gets jumped on by the dog. I mean, it's just hilarious. So, you know, between now and our next podcast, look at some funny holiday films. Look at some funny things.
Home for the Holidays is another one that's got sentiment, and it shows the family and much more deeply psychological in terms of how it handles. Holly Hunter's in it, I think, and Robert Downey Jr., and they all converge on the annual family, you know, family home for the family Thanksgiving, you know, through Christmas.
Step one for all of us right now is, as the year is coming to a close, sort of bring your mind out of the year for a minute and just give yourself some mental rest by watching something fun, smelling some holiday smells, eating something that you only eat at a holiday, like fruitcake or something. We have a number. Well, I love fruitcake.
Eggnog.
And eggnog. Yeah. So in our next podcast, we're going to be giving you some more, you know, tips and tricks on how to navigate this. So this is like part 1, and please join us for part 2. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, I don't know, Nick, where is your holiday stress right now? Do you have any?
Well, it's all a matter of comparative. I was just thinking of our dear Aunt Miriam, who puts the ho 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 in the holiday season, and I think when I hear about what Aunt Miriam's up to for her holiday season, I'm going to feel a lot better about my life.
You know, I know, but for me, as we wrap up here in the next couple seconds, I want to tell people that, you know, I can always find something to be grateful for.
Me too.
And, you know, because I like having my blood pressure like be normal. And I find that when I look for things to be grateful for, because there's a limit to how much blood pressure medication the pharmacy will release at one time. You know, so
you've hit that wall too, have you?
No, I need all 20 pills a day.
Gosh.
You know, but we have our health, and mostly we still have our minds. And you know, we are called, you know, Olympic change partners because personally, we've all survived and thrived through Olympic changes, large scale
Olympic size changes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
so holiday or not, find something to be grateful for, get some good holiday aromas going, you know, and count your blessings, and stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to be providing you with some additional tips. No matter if you're home by yourself or whether you're traveling, you'll be able to get these tips on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
And David and I might even take you out with a Yuletide carol together on our next podcast.
Oh, you know what? Dame Shirley Bassey just released her Christmas album.
A new one?
Yes.
OMG.
Yes.
All right. Well, then we
Yep.
definitely have something to see. The holidays are perfect
At
after all. If you
87.
can select the track, David, because for those of you who don't know, not only is David Burden and probably Dame Shirley Bassey's biggest fan, they also have a personal connection, and he's, I think, the only person on earth who's allowed to use her music for good purpose. And so there we
Yeah.
are. We might give you a little taste
Yeah,
of Shirley.
more on that
Oh,
story. Yeah, so
finger.
we've got some great things because we want everybody to get through the holiday, and we want everybody, including ourselves, to start the new year strong and hopeful with a plan in their hand.
With a
That's
plan.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal of all of this. So join us
People with
for,
plans tend to succeed, you know.
and we need to do that. We have to plan. So take care, and we'll
On that
see you
happy note,
on that happy note. We'll see you shortly.
season's greetings. Thanks
Season's
everyone for joining
greetings.
us.
Thank you.